Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salawat ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak, everybody. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us the opportunity to start this year's Ramadan. And by now, we have started our Taraweeh and we're listening to the Quran. If we're fortunate enough to be in a masjid that is doing a khatm, is doing a complete recitation of the Quran, that we have heard Surah Al-Baqarah. And this surah is amazing at so many different levels. The first level, subhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ, it's the longest surah, longest chapter in the Quran. And in it is the longest verse in the Quran. And they're in the most a'zam and the most exalted verse of Quran, Ayatul Kursi. So Surah Al-Baqarah, it is, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you recite it in a house, the shaitan cannot enter into the house. And Surah Al-Baqarah, it starts with ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ. That is the book. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ. That it's the book, the law. And a lot of the Quran is stories. More than 70% of the Quran is stories. The other 30% are the rules and regulations. Surah Al-Baqarah are the rules and regulations. There are stories within it, of course, and that's where the Surah Al-Baqarah comes from Bani Israel. But the important points of Surah Al-Baqarah is that the rules and regulations are recited and inculcated within this verse. Rules about what? The longest verse that we mentioned is about tijara, is about the law of business, and especially debt. That is the verse of debt, they call it, because it's the longest verse. But within it is the law of usury and the law of trade, buying and selling, the laws of fasting, of course, the famous verses of Ramadan are in Surah Al-Baqarah. Also, the verses of Hajj are in Surah Al-Baqarah. So there's so many, and we look at Surah Al-Baqarah, mentioning Surah Al-Baqarah about Bani Israel, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives so many examples of the people that came before us, had the law also. But what did they do with the law? Number one, they manipulated the law, but they didn't practice the law. They were so proud of the law, yet behind closed doors, they didn't follow it. And our ummah, yes, Quran is in Arabic, but alhamdulillah, we have now at our hands, in our phones, in our devices, every means that while we're actually reciting, we can see the English translation or the different language translations. Not just that, yesterday we heard a lesson, subhanAllah, that in Quran.com, that there are four, not translations, so many translations, English translations, but the tafsir, the interpretation of the meaning of the Quran, there's 4 of them in English, and 2 of them and 6 of them in English, and 4 of them in Arabic. Subhanallah. So, and this is right at our fingertips. So we shouldn't let this Ramadan go without taking lessons from Ramadan and from the Quran al-Kareem about our lives, how to live a productive, a spiritual, and a proper life. In the definition of proper means Allah's definition of proper, not what this country or that country or this culture or that culture says is proper, because what this culture says is proper today will not be proper tomorrow. So the true morals and the true definition of a successful life is from Allah Rabbul Alameen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every page is telling us about success, how to have success, how to live a successful life, how to have a successful afterlife. And this afterlife is so much longer than this life. Therefore, we should be concentrating on that life that we are going to. You know, when you're driving, you look forward more than you look in the past, even though there is a rear vision mirror. So we should be looking to way beyond this life that we are currently living, and we should be making sure that we are taking from this life that will benefit us in the next life. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu has a beautiful saying. He says, Kullana na'imun, all of us are asleep. And we wake up when we pass away from this world. Our eyes really open, and then we realize what is truth and what is not, what is real and what is not, and what is temporary and what is permanent. May Allah give us tawfiq that we appreciate the Quran that is in our hands, at our fingertips, that we have the opportunity to understand it, and inshallah, most important, act upon it, inshallah. May Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah, through this Ramadan to just have a beautiful social cohesion, but also a spiritual uplifting. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.